Good morning, everyone. The energy around you right now is building toward critical threshold that's going to break tonight. And I don't mean that symbolically or as vague, soon time frame. I mean within the next several hours, something is going to happen or shift or click into place that permanently alters your trajectory in ways you cannot undo or return from. This is point of no return. This is before and after. This is your life divided into everything that happened before tonight and everything that happens after. And the shocking part isn't just that it's happening, it's how fast it's happening and how unprepared you might feel, even though some part of you has been sensing this building for days or weeks without being able to name what you were sensing. Let me be extremely clear about what life changes forever actually means in concrete terms. It means decisions getting made tonight by you or by circumstances or by other people that lock in outcomes you've been circling around but haven't committed to. Relationships becoming official or ending definitively, opportunities being accepted or declined in ways that close alternative paths, truths being spoken that can't be unspoken, actions being taken that can't be reversed. The ambiguity you've been living in ends tonight. The maybe becomes yes or no. The will see becomes concrete reality, one direction or another. Or it means revelation, something hidden becoming visible, information you didn't have suddenly available. Truth about situation or person or yourself that recontextualizes everything you thought you understood. Secret getting exposed, reality behind facade becoming undeniable. And that revelation doesn't just ADD information to what you knew, it changes what everything you knew means. Or it means external event occurring that you have no control over, but that impacts your life significantly. Someone making choice that affects you, organization or system making decision you're subject to, circumstance shifting in ways that create entirely new reality for you to navigate. You're not driving this change, you're experiencing it. But experiencing it will require immediate response that determines how the change affects you going forward. Some people hear, tonight your life changes forever, and think it's dramatic exaggeration. But rupture moments exist, moments where everything hinges, where sliding doors open and close, where the person you are on one side of the moment is fundamentally different from person you become on other side. You're standing at that threshold right now, and you're about to cross it. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider what decision or situation in your life feels like it's reached the point where it can't stay unresolved much longer. Maybe a relationship that's been in limbo. You've been talking or seeing where it goes, or maintaining undefined connection that works for neither of you, but that neither of you has had courage to either commit to or end. That ambiguity is collapsing tonight into clarity, one direction or other, or maybe professional situation that's been building toward crisis or breakthrough. You've been tolerating unacceptable conditions, or you've been working toward opportunity that's finally materializing, or you've been planning exit that you're finally executing. Or maybe internal shift that's been occurring gradually, but that reaches completion point tonight. You've been growing, changing, questioning, evolving. And tonight is when old version of you dies and new version fully emerges. When you can't pretend to be who you were anymore because who you're becoming won't tolerate the pretense. Or maybe external crisis or opportunity that's been approaching. You've seen signs, you've felt it coming, you've been preparing or avoiding or hoping it would resolve differently. But tonight it arrives and you have to deal with it regardless of readiness. This reflection invites you to consider, what have you been sensing is coming that you've been trying not to think about directly? There's something specific about Taunite as time frame that matters, because this isn't just happening soon, it's happening imminently in ways that give you almost no buffer to prepare further than you already are. Tonight means you're out of time for research, for consultation, for making sure you're completely ready. Tonight means you respond from who you are right now, not from who you wish you were or who you're working toward becoming. And that immediate time frame is deliberate. Some changes need to happen fast because slow allows overthinking that prevents necessary action. Slow allows fear to build defenses that keep you stuck in patterns you've outgrown. Slow lets rational mind override instinct that knows better. Fast forces you to act from gout instead of from analyzed to death strategy. Forces you to trust yourself instead of outsourcing decision to others. Forces you to be decisive instead of perpetually gathering more information to avoid committing. Tonight specifically might be literal something actually occurring during nighttime hours. Conversation happening after dark when defenses are down and truth flows more easily. Decision crystallizing in quiet hours when you're alone with yourself and can't hide behind distraction. Or tonight might be metaphorical for very soon, within 24 to 48 hours rather than literal darkness. But either way, the timeline is compressed. This isn't weeks away. This is imminent. This reflection invites you to consider, what would you do tonight if you knew waiting until tomorrow would mean missing the opportunity? Let me describe what massive, shocking change actually looks like when it's happening, because Hollywood has given people unrealistic expectations. In movies, life-changing moments are obvious dramatic music, perfect lighting, everyone wearing their emotions clearly for camera. In reality, massive change often looks mundane from outside while being cataclysmic internally. It might look like normal conversation that takes unexpected turn. You're talking about something routine and suddenly depth opens up that wasn't there seconds before. Someone says something they've never said. You respond in a way you've never responded. And by the time the conversation ends, entire dynamic has shifted permanently. Or it might look like you doing something ordinary, checking email, scrolling phone, walking into room and encountering information or situation that immediately changes everything. The action itself isn't dramatic, but what you discover through that action is seismic. Or it might look like internal collapse that's invisible to observers. You're going through normal motions, but inside everything is breaking. Every certainty you held is crumbling. Every identity you performed is revealed as performance. Every story you told yourself is exposed as protective fiction. And when that internal collapse completes, you can't go back to pretending. You can't unknow what you now know about yourself or your life. You have to build new from the rubble. Or it might look like sudden clarity after long confusion. You've been struggling with decision or situation for weeks or months, and suddenly tonight you just know. The answer that was unclear becomes obvious. The path that was obscured becomes visible. The choice that felt impossible becomes simple. And once you have that clarity, maintaining previous uncertainty becomes impossible. You have to act on what you now know, even if action is terrifying. Some people wait their whole lives for clarity that never comes, but when it does come, it comes fast, and it demands immediate response. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, what would clarity look like if it arrived tonight about the situation you've been most confused about? There's something about what shocking means in this context that needs unpacking, because shock implies surprise, that you didn't see this coming. But that's only partially true. Part of you has seen this coming. Part of you has been tracking the building energy, noticing the signs, feeling the approach of something, even if you couldn't name what. The shock isn't that change is happening. The shock is which change is happening, or how it's happening, or the magnitude of it being larger than you anticipated. Maybe you expected gradual shift and you're getting sudden rupture, or you expected one outcome and you're getting the opposite. Or you expected manageable adjustment and you're getting complete life reorganization. The surprise is in the specifics, not in the fact of change itself. Or the shock is in discovering your own capacity. You didn't think you were brave enough to do the thing you're about to do. You didn't think you could survive the thing you're about to survive. You didn't think you had it in you to change as dramatically as you're about to change. But crisis or opportunity reveals capacity you didn't know existed, and discovering you're more than you thought you were is its own form of shock. Or the shock is in discovering others' capacity for love, for cruelty, for courage, for betrayal. Someone showing you side of themselves you never witnessed before. Someone doing thing you never imagined them capable of doing, positive or negative. And that revelation forces you to update everything you believed about that person and your relationship with them. This reflection invites you to consider, what would shock you most discovering what you're capable of, or discovering what someone else is capable of. Let me address what you need to do right now in these remaining hours before the change hits, because preparation matters even when you can't prevent what's coming. First, get grounded. Whatever practices center you: breathing, movement, time in nature, conversation with trusted person, do those things now. You want to be as grounded as possible when disruption arrives, because grounded people make better decisions under pressure than people operating from panic. Second, clear your schedule if possible for tonight and potentially tomorrow. If massive change is coming, you don't want to be trying to navigate it while also managing normal obligations. Create space, time, and energy space to be fully present to whatever's happening. Cancel what you can cancel. Postpone what you can postpone. Create buffer. Third, identify your support system and make sure they're accessible. not to prevent the change you can't and shouldn't, but to have people to process with afterward. People who can reality check, who can celebrate if change is positive, who can help you grieve if change is loss. Don't try to navigate massive shift alone if you don't have to. Fourth, document where you are right now. Write down how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your life looks like today. Because after tonight, after the change completes, you'll have trouble remembering what before felt like. And sometimes you need that record to measure how far you've traveled. Fifth, make peace with uncertainty. You don't know exactly what's coming. You don't know exactly how it'll feel or what you'll need or how you'll respond. And that not knowing is okay. You don't need perfect preparation. You just need willingness to show up for whatever arrives. This reflection invites you to consider what's one thing you could do in next few hours to prepare yourself for massive, unexpected change. There's something critical about what happens after tonight that determines whether this change becomes launching pad or just another drama you eventually recover from and return to baseline. The change itself is catalyst, but what you build from the change is up to you. If this change creates opportunity, you have to act on that opportunity consistently, not just get excited initially and then lose momentum. If this change creates ending, you have to actually let go instead of trying to resurrect what ended or living in nostalgia for what was. If this change reveals truth, you have to integrate that truth into how you operate going forward instead of compartmentalizing it as interesting information that doesn't affect your actual choices. If this change requires decision, you have to commit to that decision and build on it instead of second guessing and recreating the ambiguity you just escaped. Major change is wasted if it doesn't lead to sustained different operating, and sustained different operating requires discipline after the intensity fades. You remain in complete control of how you respond when this change arrives. You can meet it with courage or fear, openness or resistance, strategic thinking or panic. All valid emotional responses. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has activated something visceral, maybe fear about what's coming, maybe excitement, maybe disbelief that anything this significant could happen so suddenly. Maybe recognition that yes, something IS building and you've been feeling it. Whatever you're feeling, honor it. Take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If you knew your life was going to change forever tonight, what's the one thing you'd make sure to do or say before that change happened? Drop it in the comments. And this, when massive, unexpected change has happened in your past, did you tend to freeze or did you tend to act? Tonight, your life changes forever through shocking, massive, upcoming changes. And when it happens, when the shift completes and you're standing on other side of threshold you can't cross back over, you're going to have to decide who you become in response to what just occurred. Not eventually, tonight, within hours. Trust yourself with this trust that you're equipped to handle whatever's coming, even if you don't feel ready. Trust that change this big is coming because you're ready for it, not as test of whether you're ready. Trust that you'll know what to do when the moment arrives, even if you can't plan for it now. See you in the next one. And listen, when life changes forever, in single night, the person you were yesterday becomes memory, and the person you're becoming starts now. Don't waste the transformation by trying to return to who you were. Stay grounded, stay present, stay ready. Everything changes tonight. Be there for it. Take care.